Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this webinar on ChatGPT in the context of education marketing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Philippe Taza, and I'm the founder and CEO of Higher Education Marketing, or HEM. We're a specialized digital marketing agency that only works within the education sector. And actually, this year is our 15th anniversary. So we've seen a lot of evolution within the marketing technology environment, and large language models and generative AI is just the next evolution of this progress within the tools that we as marketers work with on an ongoing basis. Today, I've got about 60 slides, and I purposely didn't delete many because I wanted to leave them there for you as a resource. I know many of you will look at the webinar afterwards or offline. So a lot of the examples are there so that you can actually get inspired in your own workflow, in your own offices. So that's why there's lots of content, but there'll be a certain tempo to the presentation just to make sure that we stay within about 30 minutes or so, and maybe a few minutes of Q&A depending on what comes to your mind. Just a bit of housekeeping. Yes, we'll be sending tomorrow the slides and the recording for everyone that's actually registered for this webinar. Just a quick check with you, Rafael. Everything here, is the sound good? The visuals are good? Any problems?
Yes, everything good.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Rafael. So let's get started. So we'll begin the presentation on some of the basic foundational elements of what these things are, and then we'll focus on prompt engineering and some use cases, as you can see in the agenda here, and we'll end up with some resources. So first, let's talk about what is ChatGPT. Well, it's a form of generative AI. It's a tool that lets users enter prompts to receive human-like images, text, or videos that are created by artificial intelligence. The ChatGPT, or excuse me, the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which refers to how ChatGPT is trained with reinforcement learning through human feedback and reward models. Now, I want to reassure you, I've seen presentations where they actually explain this from a statistical point of view and very deep point of view, and that's beyond my skill set and the scope of this presentation. But suffice it to say that it's quite impressive and it's fairly complex. And I've been told, based on the sessions that I've attended myself, to keep up with the trends, that what we're seeing now from a AI point of view and generative AI point of view, even though it's very cool, it's just the beginning. So this is going to evolve very, very quickly. This is the fourth time, or actually the fifth time, if I count this morning, but the fourth time that I run this presentation, and it's changed and evolved every single time in the last 6 weeks. The last time I ran it was at ISEF Berlin early November, before the last announcement, which was November 7th, where OpenAI actually made an announcement of changing some of the modes and its model. So the most current modes are, as you see them here, there's a free version, and in the paid version, you've got the ability to combine different modes, which are DALL-E 3, browsing, and the analysis. And you also have the plugin mode, which is really a game changer in terms of what's possible. Before I explained them at length, let's launch the first poll, if you wouldn't mind, Raphael, helping me with that. Which version of ChatGPT are you using? Okay. We'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. Okay, 2 more seconds. Let's share the results, please. So if we count the first row, which is the free version, 55%, and about 10% use the paid version. And many of you are still learning. Look, this is the similar result as what I had this morning and what I had in Berlin. Going from the free to the paid is really, really a big game changer. So let's stop sharing. Let's proceed with the next slides here. All the examples I'm going to show you and share with you later on all come from the paid version. I just want to keep that in mind as you contemplate this. All right. So in terms of mode, in the paid version, there's two modes. You can go from the ChatGPT 4 mode, which actually combines the DALL-E 3, which is the image creation tool from OpenAI, similar to what Canva has or Adobe Firefly. It also includes the browsing with Bing feature and the advanced data analysis feature, which used to be called originally Code Interpreter. Before November 7th, if you wanted to do and use these different features, you'd have to toggle between modes. And the way that ChatGPT functions is that when you create a chat, the way you set it up, the way you choose your mode or you choose your plugins, you can't necessarily change that. You have to create a new chat. Even though the plugins, there's some ability to now change which plugins you use in stream of the chat. It doesn't really work really well. There's some bugs. So if I have to say that you create one chat, and you decide the mode, you can't really change that. You'll have to create another chat. So it sounds a bit complex, but reality is this ability to have all of these three core features of the image generation, the browsing the web, and the advanced data analysis together creates a chat that's a lot more powerful than what it was pre-November 7th. So we use this one quite extensively in our process, as well as we do use plugins. Now, so what are these plugins? They're add-on tools developed specifically for ChatGPT, and they add functionality and features helping users take advantage of the full capabilities of ChatGPT. Now, to give you an idea, in the plugin store, there's about 1,200 or so plugins, and the numbers fluctuate. So there's a lot. And we had a good question this morning, which was, which plugins should I use? The way that I started approaching this is I ask Google, which plugins should I use for this? And I get blogs, and I'll go and read the blogs, and it'll give me some ideas of plugins. Then I can install the plugin, and then I ask the plugin itself, what can it do? So here's an example of a prompt that I asked ChatGPT. In this case, I selected the Web Reader plugin. Please describe what the Web Reader capabilities are and what are the common use cases for that plugin and some of its limitations. So I first went to the web. I got some ideas through blogs in terms of how to use, which plugins to use for data analysis or reporting or graph creation or browsing, or there's lots. Zapier's got a plugin. And then I installed it to the plugin store by going through the search plugins interface. And then I prompt ChatGPT to tell me what it can do. So that's the way that you can start understanding how to use plugins. And here you'll see that you're allowed up to 3 enabled plugins per chat. And there's a notion of a plugging pack where you actually have the 3 working together. But this is evolving. Plugins are great. There's some applications for them. Highly recommend that you research them based on your own use cases. The other thing that's important, that's quite fundamental with all large language models, including ChatGPT, is the notion of the knowledge cutoff. So what is this knowledge cutoff? Essentially, it's up until when will the LLM be able to reference actual documents or information that's available publicly on the web? And depending which mode you're in, the knowledge cutoff is not the same. And you can actually ask, I didn't do this in this example, in this webinar, but I could have asked the prompt, hey, ChatGPT, what's your knowledge cutoff? And depending on what mode I'm in, the free version, the ChatGPT 4 paid, or the plugin mode, the answer would be different. The latest case is April 2023 if you're in the ChatGPT 4 mode. So you can reference information up until then. So if you're trying to get information that's new, you've got to use a plugin that's going to go and fetch data on a live website. And that's one of the use cases where with the web reader plugin, you can use it. You can feed a URL, say, go and check this, and it'll look at real-time data because, or not necessarily real-time, but it'll look at data that's available on that website or that web page that will be beyond, in this particular case, of April 2023. So the knowledge cutoff is super important. The other thing that's important is understanding tokens. Essentially, tokens is the memory of the chat, and depending which ChatGPT version you're using, the number of tokens will vary. Other LLMs also have different tokens, so understanding the memory is super important. And usually what happens if you're getting hallucinations or the system is starting to making stuff up, it's usually because you're reaching the token limit. So we've got a little video here that you can see where as we're prompting it and system is responding, the tokens are evolving. So you can install this. This is a Chrome extension that you can install, and it actually, as you can see, it tracks the token limit. The ChatGPT 4 currently is 32,000 tokens, which is plenty, whereas the free one is 8,000 tokens. So depending on what you're doing, you can reach that limit quite quickly. So tokens, knowledge cutoff, all super important, the different modes. So learning to use the system, which application system, for which use case is relevant, but where the rubber meets the road is about the prompting. The better your prompts, the better the output. It's that simple. So prompt engineering is the practice of designing inputs for generative AI tools that will produce optimal outputs. You'll see at the end, there's an image of a Coursera. There's actually 2 Coursera courses that I took that are free that I highly recommend, and you'll have them at the end in our resource section. So the first tip in terms of prompting, give it context and a persona. I'm an admissions officer at Tech Elite University in Silicon Valley, specializing in STEM education. We're known for cutting-edge research, innovative programs, and a dynamic student community. Our strengths lie in state-of-the-art facilities, renowned faculty, and strong industry partnerships. I'm giving it situation, the name of the school, the location of the school, the type of the school, some USPs. I'm giving it context. Now, I'm asking the system for help. And I'm also asking the system to think step by step. Can you help us develop effective marketing strategies for promoting our new online degree programs? Please show your process and think through this step by step. We've noticed that when you actually instruct it to take its time and be procedural in the achievement of a job, we get better outputs. We also ask it to take its time. Spend a full minute between each step to provide a solution. It sounds silly, but for some reason, when we do that, it actually interprets it the way to take it to be more detailed in its prompt itself, because the prompts that you give it, they convert that. ChatGPT converts that into scripts or programming, and by asking it to take its time, for some reason, it actually yields better outputs in terms of the quality of what you're asking for. And then this is the most interesting one: be encouraging and be polite. The more we're polite and the more we're encouraging, this is not a joke, the better the outputs. We've even seen cases where the initial prompt was really strong and it came back with, you know what, I can't do this for you. I'm sorry. And we responded saying, hey, you can do it. Yes, go ahead. And it did come back with a great output. So for some reason, through the assimilation of all of this human knowledge, the good in us has inspired ChatGPT to react well to strong comments and positive reinforcement. So by all means, use it. The next tip is be specific about what you want. I need help making a meta ad campaign. Tell me with this, I need these components. Audiences that I can target for my school, 3 variants of ad text. Each should contain headline, link text, and message. The message should be no more than 50 words. I need an image generated that I can use. It should be of a university student in a classroom looking happy and fulfilled. Being very, very specific about what we want. And the next tip here is about refining. You can, based on the output that you receive, you can ask it to revise its output and be more specific about, maybe you've omitted something, or you realize that you forgot to be specific about something else. You can coach the AI to improve the output that it gave you. And actually, every thought leader that I follow in this field, they all speak about when you build your chat within ChatGPT, and you'll notice, you've probably seen that on the left-hand side, you can have all your chats there. One chat should be there for one purpose, and you should work hard at training that chat to give you one specific output. And the more you do that, the more you train it, the more this becomes very useful. Very much like you training an intern. You have a new intern that joined your team. You'll be very specific about the instructions you give the intern to get what you want out of the tasks. All right, let's go to our second poll, if you wouldn't mind, Raphael. Why are you using ChatGPT? For what purpose? If you wouldn't mind, please, providing some input for this poll. Okay, let's see. Well, there's no surprise here. Let's wait a few more seconds. Okay, one more second. Perfect. Let's share the results. So, yes, content, that's an obvious one. And actually, it's interesting because if the majority of you are using the free version, well, I'm not going to say that's all you could do with it, but it's the go-to function. But by enabling the paid version, and by the way, I don't get commissions from OpenAI. It's not me trying to promote that in terms of, I'm promoting it because it's really a game changer. And you'll see in the examples that are going to come next, all the things that we've been able to produce came from that mode. So we've got one that creates images, boosting admissions, reporting insights, absolutely. We're using ChatGPT for however we can. That's awesome. All right, let's stop sharing and let's go to the to the meat. So the first use case is SEO. You'll notice that we're in the plugin mode. and we've got 3 plugins that are enabled. And here's the context, and here's the prompt. I'm a content marketer at a language school in Boston looking to create a content cluster based on search volume keywords relevant to the school's program and location. Create these keywords based on all the school's programs from this URL, and the URL is there, and organize them by program. For those of you that don't know what a cluster is, or a content cluster, it's an SEO strategy of organizing your content around pillar pages and subtopic pages. And usually the pillar page is focused on the most volume keyword, and these pages link to each other. So it's a very effective SEO strategy. And then based on the content provided from that URL, the school offers, and boom, it provided us these list of programs. And then it used the Link SEO Assistant plugin, and then generated some keywords for a few programs. And then we've asked it to revise these keywords to reflect English communication skills, and it added that in its Notion. So we're getting initial ideas of keywords based on a live URL that we provided it. We've also wanted to follow through and ask it to generate other keywords based on a particular program at a particular URL. And in this case, it used 2 plugins, and boom, we have the examples of keywords it's provided. Now, we're asking it to create a spreadsheet with columns to cluster all the previously generated keywords. Organize a spreadsheet using a content cluster approach with program pages as pillar pages using this structure. Include a program page in one column, include corresponding program link in the second column, and so on and so forth. Et voila. This table was generated from ChatGPT. And it's organized the information as we requested it. Now, here we're trying to improve the results, include at least 5 subtopic ideas with a corresponding main keyword and corresponding relevant keyword for each program page. Organize this new content as new rows for each program page and program link. And then it responds, certainly. And here are the headlines, and excuse me, the headings of the table. And then at the end, we got a downloadable CSV that we're presenting to you on the screen here, which is all organized as we requested it. And then from here, our SEO specialist team can further refine, look at search volume. We'll use the Google Keyword Planner tool. We'll use SEMrush, but we've got a very strong base within a few minutes that we can use to then further improve the process of building our content cluster. The second use case is asking it to help us build an ad campaign and a landing page. So I'm a marketer working for an international school. We offer university pathway courses. And here are some USPs. What separates us from other schools is that we have our high success rate, small classes, and accreditation. I need help making a meta ads campaign. Help me with this. I need these components. Audiences that I can use, variants of ad text, and images. Et voila. Images were created, audiences were defined, and ad text variants were created. Obviously, we can further refine. The context here is somewhat simple. We could have expanded on that. We could have added custom instructions, but hopefully you see that it actually can help you across the marketing spectrum. Even manipulating images. We've uploaded 2 images. We've added to overlay them. It can crop images. It can generate different size images for different placements. Very much like what you could do with Adobe Firefly and Canva, but all within ChatGPT 4. Now, in terms of Google, Same school, I need help making a Google search ad campaign. Tell me with this, I need these components. 15 to 20 high intent keywords, 6 headlines of 30 characters, 4 descriptions of 90, and so on and so forth, 4 column extensions, and voila. Now, are they all good to go as is, copy and paste? Probably not. Can we use them? Can we further refine? Can we further filter? Absolutely. This is a tool that we're here to use to help and provide additional creativity, additional ideas in terms of how we can, in this case, launch a Google campaign. Now, I need help creating a landing page. This involves 2 aspects, the copy and also the HTML. And the HTML should also include a form. So we requested that, and voila, we got an image, the copy, and we got actually an HTML file, which worked. We could upload it to our server. Now, this is an example just to illustrate what's possible, but our programmers, we develop software. We have an application system and a CRM system, and our developers use, the tools to help them with code and code debugging. So it actually is very powerful when it comes to this aspect as well. And not in all cases are all marketers strong coders. So you can use ChatGPT to help you support you in that process. Now, the third case is in missions management and reporting. Now, I'm a big fan of numbers. So this is what I particularly like. I'm an admissions manager working in a college, and I'm responsible for analyzing the performance of our admissions team and establishing the return on investment from our digital marketing channels. List the most important reports I should be monitoring on a regular basis and provide you with a list of prompts I should consider for future collaboration with ChatGPT. So before I ask it to generate reports for me, I'm asking it what reports should I be monitoring and what prompts I should be generating. And this is a bit of a game changer. It's because what's happening in a lot of cases, when we're inexperienced with LLMs, we think of it as a Google search box, but it's not a Google search box. It's a lot more than that. And you can ask it to support you in preparation for actually working with the system, which is what we did here. Then what we did here is we exported data from a CRM. We removed obviously all data that's personally identifiable. So there's no name, no email, no phone number. It's just data, programs and date creation. And you can see here, like you'll see in the right column, these are the columns of the spreadsheet. And so I'm an admissions manager working for a college responsible for analyzing the performance. Okay. Using the CRM data tab, analyze the attached raw 2023 lead flow enrollment data and generate tables and corresponding charts highlighting the monthly lead flow. Perform the same task for each program that has at least 10 enrollments. And then it starts working. I'll start by reading the contents of the CRM data tab in the Excel file, and it lists all the columns, and then it starts the analysis. So in the ChatGPT 4 environment, you can actually upload spreadsheets and PDFs, and which is what I did here. You'll notice here I'm uploading a spreadsheet, and boom, it generates, in this particular case, monthly lead flow for each program with at least 10 enrollments. And I've asked it to generate insights, so it provides its own observation. And that's the coolest thing. Beyond the fact that it'll do this for you, it'll generate some insights and observations that you can then hone in on and really focus your attention towards. This is where it becomes a big time saver and super really productive. So here is monthly enrollments. on a monthly basis. I could have chosen a pie chart, a line graph. And here it says from the bar chart, we can observe that September had the highest number of enrollments, whilst February and May had the lowest. And I understand that a lot of CRMs will do this for you. Maybe not out of the box, but they'll do it for you. But the fact that we were able to generate all of these reports super quickly in a way that's really organized, in my opinion, is really productive. Here we've got the lead to enrollment rate. So it converted that query into a formula, and then it generated the enrollment and conversion rate on a monthly basis for us. And it saw that there was an increase in conversion rate starting from July, and that September had the highest one. Here's the time to enrollment. This is calculating the number of days between the create date and enrollment date, and it's got that organized by month. Now it's got that in a table, in a graph by month, by program. Then it's analyzing the performance of the admissions counselors, the lead flow, the enrollment, the conversion rate, and it's analyzing and annotating how they're performing. Now, we uploaded another spreadsheet that's got 2 years worth of data, and we're asking the system to compare both, year over year, 23 versus 22, and generate tables and corresponding charts highlighting these trends in yearly enrollment rates by program, excluding data from Canada. So we did this for international students. So here it goes. It understands the columns in the spreadsheet, and then it starts generating the graphs and the tables we requested. So here it's comparing year over year our enrollment rate by program. Then I did another thing. I wanted to stitch together 2 data sets. I wanted to stitch Google Analytics 4 and CRM data. So I've uploaded the 2 files, and before it can proceed with the correlation, it wanted to follow these steps. It wanted to inspect the data, clean the data, join the data, and then conduct the analysis. So I'm sparing you a few steps in between, but essentially it's correlating how much traffic came to the website from Google and how many leads came, or from Facebook, or from a newsletter, and then I fed it some media spend on Google and on Facebook, and considering this media spend, I've asked it to tell us what's the cost per user and the cost per enrollment by source. So in terms of ROI analysis, it could be very precise, and I think it's very interesting. And this example is very simplistic. I only had 2 or 3 sources, but if you're a large organization, you have multiple sources. This can help you really understand the power of ChatGPT and how it can help you in your process. All right, the last use case, act as a data analyst and conduct an email performance analysis. Create a year-over-year email performance chart categorized by campaign and showcasing the number of emails sent. Include only the top 10 campaigns with the highest email volume and group the remaining campaigns under others when presenting the data in the chart. So here, a lot of organizations in our sector send a lot of emails. We do as well. And sometimes we look at one email, but we want to find trends. So here we can quickly see over the course of multiple years the different trends by campaign. We then wanted to kind of get other insights in terms of delivery rate, open rate, click-through rate, best time to send, emails, and here provide us the analysis of day of the week, hour of the day, and best days. Thursday and Fridays show the highest engagement in terms of open rate and click-through rate. Best hours, the 2 p.m. slot stands out with the highest open rate. So you have a lot of data. If you sent emails through your CRM or MailChimp for years, you can actually export all that information and always question when's the best time, what's the best subject line. And yes, there are studies you can use to help guide you, but this is with your own data. And for a human to do this, it would take a lot of time, whereas with the system, it's fairly robust and fairly quick. All right, so if you guys have questions, please prepare them, and you can put them in the Q&A section of Zoom. Just some resources, free ChatGPT courses from Coursera. I've taken the 2 in the box. The initial prompt engineering one was really, I started with that one. It helped me understand what this thing is and how I should work with it. And then when I got a bit more experienced, I wanted to understand what the data analysis mode opened up as opportunity. And you saw a lot of the cases that we showed you today were done with that advanced data analysis feature of the ChatGPT 4 mode. So it's really super important to leverage that technology. And then this Everyday AI podcast, it's a daily podcast that I've been following for a few months. It's excellent. I'm not affiliated with him. I don't even know this person, but he's excellent. He really gives good content. He does not only cover, ChatGPT covers other LLMs and other news in the space. It's available on Spotify and other systems. YourEverydayAI.com, highly recommend it. I love this image. Humans still need to take charge and be in control. And from all the speakers that I've heard speaking about this topic, there's one commonality. It's not true that AI will replace, every knowledge worker tomorrow. But what is true is that the knowledge workers that know how to use AI will replace the ones that don't. And here at HCM, we do. So if you're interested in learning more about how we leverage AI, please get in touch. And here are my colleagues that you can speak to, or myself. We'll be sending the recording out tomorrow. Let me see if there's any questions that come up here. All right, question here from Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. How do you enable plugins? I see on Google that there is a setting called beta features, but I don't have beta features in my settings. So you've got to be in the paid mode of ChatGPT. The plugins are only available in that case. And then on the bottom left-hand corner where you see your name, you click on settings, and then yes, there's a beta features tab where you can enable plugins. I've heard in some cases where they may not be enabled for an account. This is not, this has happened. You have to go back there and wait for this to become available for you. But I think now, if you're having the paid version, everyone should actually be able to enable the plugins under the beta features. So that's part of the settings. The other question we have is around plugins again. Which plugin should I use? And I touched on that earlier in the presentation. Again, start by going to Google, ask it what's the best plugin to perform this task, and then from there install the plugin, ask ChatGPT what you could do with the plugin, and start practicing and testing. So it really comes down to spending time to use the system, and I can assure you that the better you improve your prompts, the better will be the outputs, and you'll find it really useful. So I want to thank you everyone for joining our presentation. We'll be sending out the recording and the slides tomorrow. If I don't get the chance to speak to you personally, I want to wish you all the best for the holiday season and the best for the new year. Lots of health and success to all of you. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.